Hey there. Thanks for stopping by. This video is going to tell you how you can set up charging at your house for your new Tesla or other EV, or perhaps you're actually wondering how to set up charging before you decide to buy a car. That's fair. Difficult it is not. You set it up, you charge your cars at night while you're home, and when you drive off in the morning, your car is fully charged and you drive all day. It's so simple compared to some of the other fossil fuel ways of doing things. I'll be happy to show you everything that I've done. Let's take a look. So 240 volts comes in typically either from a pole or underground or through a transformer and into your house. So this is your typical 200 amp residential circuit breaker panel. As you can see, the breakers control the power to each one of the circuits, and this is where you get your power to charge your car. So this is your standard 120 volt wall outlet. It's good for about 2,500 watts of power. It'll charge your car to a whopping 4 miles per hour of charge. You plug your mobile connector into it. So this is a NEMA 1450 240 volt 50 amp circuit. Now it doesn't mean a lot to you maybe. With higher voltage and higher current, 50 amps and 240 volts, that gives us about 11,000 watts of power out of this connection. It's actually a good connection to charge your car. Your car will charge quicker on an outlet like this. So this is the mobile connector charging case that comes with your Tesla. Inside is the mobile connector. The mobile connector is the device that hooks up the AC sources to actually charge your car. So it comes with an adapter. It's 120 volt adapter if you're here in North America. If you're in Europe, it comes with a Shuku. Has another side of it that plugs directly into the actual mobile connector itself. These adapters fit and adapt the mobile connector to your car, and your car, of course, has the standard connector. If you're in Europe, you'll have a Type 2 connector here that plugs into your car if you're in Europe. But in North America, we have the standard 120 volt plug, and we have the Tesla connector here. So how hard is it to plug it into the wall? Very simple. You take it, you insert it into the plug, you ensure the lights light up green, and you're ready to go. Plug this into your car. Now, additionally, you can buy additional adapters, and I've purchased this adapter. This is a 1450 240 volt 50 amp plug. It also plugs directly into the mobile connector, giving me the ability to plug it into a higher power circuit in my garage or while I'm traveling. A number of adapters available from the Tesla store. They're available online. You purchase them online, and they're $35 a piece. Now, there's one additional part that comes with this, and it's this adapter. This adapter adapts the Tesla connector to a J1772 level 2 connector. And you'll find these chargers in supermarkets and around. They're between 3 and 7 kilowatts. You plug that into here and plug it into the car. However, you need to read the manual and make sure you plug this into the car first, then the J1772. Once it starts charging, Tesla locks the connection. So this will actually lock the adapter into the car. However, your J1772 may or may not lock onto here, and it should, but if it doesn't, never pull it hot. So that's as simple as this adapter is. Great thing to have. Okay, let's charge the car from 120 volts AC. I have rigged the proper adapter here onto the mobile connector, and let's plug that in. Again, put it on carefully, push on the back only, and now we are green. Okay, I've got the end of the mobile connector. It's a standard looking connection, just like what we'd see on the other Tesla connectors. I push the button on the top. The mobile opens. I insert it just like the others. We get some negotiation in blue, and now we're green, and now we're charging. So we're now charging from a 124 volt circuit. It's plugged in using the mobile connector. As you can see, it gives a whopping 4 miles per hour of charge. This generally may be okay for your commute. Perhaps you don't want to install a larger 240 volt circuit or a high power wall charger. Either way, it'll give you 4 miles for every hour of charge. Plugs directly into a 120 volt outlet. They're available everywhere. Most homes have these, and in the end, it's easy to do. One of the benefits of the mobile connector is that it has the 120 volt plug, just like you have in your house. So no matter where you drive, you can always pull your mobile connector out and plug in and add range to your car. Albeit 4 miles per hour, at least you can add some range. Now on a mobile connector, you have a limitation of 12 amps here. The 12 amps are limited because being a continuous duty circuit has a limit of 12 amps. But let's say you plug it into a circuit that maybe has some other things connected to it. You can modify the charge current here using the charge current selector down to whatever current you want. But as you can see, now we're at 2 miles per hour of charge. But if that's all the current you can pull from a given outlet, that's okay. At least you're getting 2 miles per hour of charge. Here is the 240 plugs. You can see it's much larger than the 120 volt plug. As you can see, the rear end of it mates to the mobile connector, and you plug it in and it plugs together. Now you're ready to plug it in. Very careful with this circuit. This circuit has much more power than the standard wall connection than your house of 120 volts. When you plug it in, really the best way is to turn the circuit breaker off. But if you're an adult and have some experience and are very careful not to hurt yourself, you can carefully keep your fingers away from it, plug it in here. So in order to plug this in, my recommendation is use your hand. Keep your fingers away, put your palm on it, and push in hard, and it'll go into the wall. Okay, we're currently hooked up with 240 volts into the mobile connector. It's drawing 32 amps because that is the power limit of the mobile connector. 246 volts from the wall, and we're charging 27 miles per hour of charge. If on a trip you take your mobile connector and plug it into, say, a dryer outlet, it's an easy task just to use the charge current limit here and lower it to, say, whatever the circuit breaker is minus 20% for continuous duty, and you'll notice the car will change its charge current now to 24 amps, and you know we're only charging it 19 or 20 miles per hour. This is generally not a problem since you're going to be charging overnight. The last thing you want to do is overload the circuit breaker and have the circuit breaker pop open, and then your car will stop charging. So make sure you set your current to whatever the circuit breaker is. If it's a 30 amp circuit breaker, I recommend 80% of that. The circuit will maintain all night long and just keep going. So this is the Tesla version 2 wall connector. It's designed to supply power to the car. The battery then can be charged. The charger on board to the car regulates the amount of power. All the wall connector does is communicate to the car to make sure that it's properly connected to the car. There are 2 connections. The heavy connections are for the power to the car. The one in the middle is the ground, and the 2 on the end are for communications to the onboard charger in each one of the cars. And once I plug it into the car, the communications happens between the wall connector and the car. The car then says, hey, I see that everything is good, signals the wall connector, and the wall connector connects the 240 volts here onto the car. The car has a built-in charger, and of course then it takes over and charges the battery. When the car is either at its limit or full, it'll signal the wall connector to disconnect the 240 volts AC, in which it does. And you can leave your car plugged in for months. And as the power drains slightly from the battery due to the electronics, it will signal the wall connector it needs power. The wall connector then will reconnect the power to the charger that's on board the car. The car will charge up, get to the magic point, tell the wall connector it has enough, and then they will disconnect the 240 from the car, all without you touching it. Just leave it plugged in if you're going to be gone for an extended period of time. These wall connectors can also communicate with each other. You can have up to 4 wall connectors connected to each other on a 100 amp circuit, and they will share power between the 4 on a 100 amp circuit. They communicate with the car how much power is available. The car will charge at that rate. If one car quits charging, the available energy from that car's wall connector is now distributed amongst the remaining 3, and so on. Pretty slick system. So this is the version 3 Tesla wall connector. It also fits flush onto the wall, and it has space for the cable to hang. But there's a couple of differences here between this new wall connector. So this new wall connector will charge a maximum of 50 amps. That's okay, because all of the Tesla cars now charge at a maximum of 50 amps. One of the benefits also too, if you look at the difference in the cable, you'll notice that the cable is about half of what the version 2 wall connector. It doesn't have to charge at 80 amps anymore. It charges at 50, so the cable is much more manageable. Instead of a hardwire connection connecting these wall connectors together to provide power sharing, this white one will now do it via Wi-Fi. And you can have 4 of these version 3s hooked in parallel, and they'll also do power sharing with a software update. This has an 18-foot cable. This is a 24-foot cable. The wall connector gives us 40 miles per hour. On my Model 3, I'll get 44 miles per hour, which is pretty substantial. It's significantly more than the mobile connector because it's 48 amps versus 32 amps. So you say, well, why do I need the wall connector versus just using the mobile connector? Well, for the simple reason that if you come home one day and you need to charge up quicker, having the extra power available to charge quicker will get you charged up and down to do whatever errand you need to do quickly. If all you're doing is an overnight, no issues. You can still use the wall connector or the mobile connector. But having it directly on the wall where you disconnect it, plug it into the car, makes it much more convenient to use. With the wall connector, of course, you can adjust the current. If I want to set it to 35 amps, you can see it adjusts the usage down to 35, and it drops us to 29 miles per hour of charge. The scheduling also works the same. You can set up scheduling on the wall connector as well. You might choose to schedule your charging. Hit the schedule button here and you have several options. You got start charging at a given time, or you specify whatever your departure time is and the car will start charging on its own to reach the power limit or the charge limit that you set previously. So thank you very much for getting this far into the video. If I've not answered all of your questions, please put them down in the comment. I would appreciate a like, and I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel. I do my very best to try to bring you guys everything you need and want to know about Teslas and electric cars. The referral code here at the bottom of the screen is a referral code. If you choose to buy a Tesla, I would appreciate you use my code. My code will give you 1,000 miles of free supercharging. Thank you so much for watching. I'll look for you again, and take care until next time.